Hello, welcome back to Anything Relevant. Well, I want to talk about the word apocalypse. The word has been dramatized and biblicized and reimagined. It has a stigma and a expectation that goes with it. Now, you flip open the dictionary, it says to have a revelation. Now, I believe we're in the middle of an apocalypse right now. In it, breathing it, seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, thinking it. The revelation is this: the 19th and 20th century are dead, but still not gone. And this new era, the 21st century and on, is what's trying to inherit. Now, I'm not saying there needs to be an age war or a class war or an economic war. I'm not saying war at all. Not at all. I'm talking about a different aspect of what apocalypse means: non-violent, non-bloody, non-world ending. More of a war of the consciousness. That's what's at war right now. Consciousness over morality and ethics and how to live it. So when you have the way that the world has been running, it's still running pejoratively as if it's still the 19th, 20th century. The more important the facilities, you'll find that they're a little further behind in technology. Like your local government, your local law enforcement. Technology reaches them, absolutely, but there's processes that are still steeped in yesterday. Tried and true is hard to move on from. My point being is that the 19th, 20th century still has its claws in modern day, and it hasn't relinquished. It won't let go. And I don't think we should get rid of it just for the sake of getting rid of it. But I think the apocalypse, if you will, the revelation, is that we need to have an alternative for these changes to happen. You can't just force something for the sake of change. You'll make a mess. Good intentions lead to bad results. Whereas you keep status quo going and you develop what will overtake it. You develop it. You refine it. You research it. You test try it. You get other people to tear it apart constructively, to find the loopholes, to find the chinks in the armor. So the weaknesses in the armor. So the thing that will inherit the status quo will be as ready as it can be. It won't be perfect. Nothing in this world ever is. And if there is something perfect, how beneficial is it? You got the perfect square, the perfect cube. Okay, cool. You got perfect level. It's level ground. It's a level nailed in board. Okay, good. But what I'm getting at when it comes to people and feelings and thoughts, there's never perfect. There's only, can you collaborate? Can you compromise? Can you work together? So the status quo needs to remain the status quo until what takes its place is ready. And once it's ready, the transition will happen. And that's the time period that we're in right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you through a screen. Let my mind pour out and I'm hoping that I'm not going to offend anyone, but it's just the way that I see things, the way that I analyze things, the way that when I perceive what's in front of me and I scrutinize it with my wisdom gained from experience via my life experience or books I've read, people I've watched talk, the lectures, the journals, the podcasts, the interviews that have been enlightening and unlocked my mind to see the world the way that I see it, is that's what I see right now. We're in the middle of an apocalypse because technology has marched so far forward that it's now time. It's now time that it can start to transition. And there's going to be some things that go away. It's not going to be smooth and harmonious. But I'm not going to say that it's going to, I hope it's not going to be riddled with war. I hope it's riddled with arguments between business people and politicians. That's where I hope the fighting is, through arguments and not understanding what the change is or why it needs to happen, or can you even stop it. The internet itself has executed many facets of the 19th and 20th century on how we view things, how we think about things, how we behave, what is an expectation of public behavior. Many things have changed, many. And the writing is on the wall. The internet pulled the trigger a couple decades ago, and now we're seeing the writing on the wall from that trigger point. We watch things from 2001, 2002, news interviews, right down to music and entertainment, and sometimes we'll pull our head back and go, holy smokes, you can pull that off today. Imagine the movies made in the 70s. Music made in the 70s, in the 60s. You have to make indie films, and they might not be widely accepted. You might even get run out of town because it's too far. The sensitivity of the times is to me one of the biggest reinforcements of why I think we're living in an apocalypse. The sensitivity levels through the roof, and I feel that with this modern technology that we have at our fingertips, that we are in our infancy. And give infants food, what are they going to do with it? They're going to make a mess. You give them anything, they're going to hurt themselves or make a mess. What are we doing right now with social media, with all this information flying around? There's people taking advantage of it, falsifying, spinning. It's irresponsible. It's very childlike. It's very infantile. And with more exposure, it will be forced to age up, because we will have less tolerance, we'll have less patience, we'll have less time. We will not click on the clickbait stuff of yesteryear because it's too boring, it's too toxic. It's exciting right now because it's new, but the moment it's no longer new, we will be adapted and already moved on. So I have the cup being half full, if not overflowing, with positivity and hope for the future. I see so much ugly in the news. I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. But what I'm seeing is a minority group getting louder. If I want to take something from you and I grab it out of your hands, your knuckles will be white before I yank that out of your hand. And that's what's going on. That's why it's an apocalypse. There is resistance to this change, but the revelation will not be stopped. It will not be denied. It will move forward. I just hope with peace. I hope with harmony. But then I can just read history, and that's what I can expect for the worst case scenario. I am not believing the worst case scenario to happen. I believe the populace outcry for what they want and what they'll spend their money on and what they won't support will out loud the extremes of any direction you want to talk about politically or any otherwise, is that I think just the gray humanity that doesn't really want harm to their neighbor will be what inherits and what continues. They are the biggest demographic of this planet. The basic need and want and desire just to have a home, have stability, go to work, bills paid, is so strong and so high in demand that the tolerance of this binary struggle is just the two loudest people in the room, knowing that eventually both are not going to have the power. They're not going to have the influence. We're in an era of dying ideas and the birth and inheritance of new. I may have mentioned it in a past video, but I'm going to say it again anyway. Your number one idea is your only number one idea because of investment, time, and commitment. And once that second best idea has even a little bit of that behind it, high time will come when it overpasses that number one idea and it becomes the new status quo. This transition is why I say we're in an apocalypse right now. I couldn't be happier because I see all the positive that's going to come out of this. There's a lot of advantageous people out there. We all know that. We all know that. We all know that there's some really toxic people that are even worse than the advantageous people, the people that want to take advantage. And then you got the toxic ones. They're even worse. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them, and I'm not worried about them. Am I ignoring them? No. No, I'm not ignoring them. I'm not worried about them though either. The reason why I'm not is because look what I'm doing right now. I'm filming myself by choice. Down the road, I could be viewed as a monster. That'd be funny to my moment, to the situation right now. But explain to me why I am. I think I'm open-minded enough to see what they're putting down. But point being is that cameras are everywhere, cell phones are everywhere. People with an opinion that don't like to see what they're seeing will pull out their phone and start recording. Exposure is the new weapon. It's a new weapon. It's a new freedom. It's a new liberty. And because of that, we're going to have people that want to be toxic that have to walk a fine line. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all because I'm not promoting hate. I'm promoting love. I'm promoting understanding and expansion of your mind to see things in a different light, to see things from a different angle. When I look at a statue, my first instinct is to do a 360 around it. I want to walk all around it. I want to see the front, the back. I want to look underneath. I want to look down from above on it. I want to touch it. I want to find out what material is made out of it, how long it took to carve it, who was it, what were they about. Then I want to dive into their life. I'm not saying everyone's got to do that because that can be exhausting for some people. But this is kind of relying on the group. People that don't want to do that, but they got friends that do that. There you go. If you don't want to do it, but you got a good friend or a family member that you converse with on a regular basis that can keep you up to speed, that's good. It's good to have a crew, a troop, a clan, a tribe, a society, a clique, community. Whatever you have it. Don't be left behind. Change is coming. And I'm excited to see it. Thank you for dropping by. I wish to see you soon. I'm trying to get more videos up, and I got a list of ideas written down. I hope I entertain you with this one, and I hope you continue your entertainment with me in the future. Thanks for dropping by again. Bye-bye.